So now we're on part two, and going back to my age 12, 13, 2007, 2008, and this is when I was homeschooled, and now I'm hanging out on the streets. So I started developing a friend group. Kids, actually, this friends at the time. Of course, I'm not going to use names, so I don't want to get into any legal problems, of course, with being sued by anybody. But this is a pretty intense story, so well, you'll see. So this kid I started hanging out with my brother. You know, this kid actually now is in prison. And will be there for a while. But he was a pretty good friend of mine, and we hung out. That's when I started getting into trouble. Started trespassing at nighttime. You know, we would bike and scooter and all that stuff, hanging out and you know, just doing tricks on the bike and stuff, hanging out in places, but you know, getting chased out by security guards. You know, the basic stuff when you're that age. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much became like the gist of it. You know, throwing eggs at houses on Halloween, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, it starts, I think, in any type of situation, scenario, when somebody's kind of like building up in terms of criminality. I think it kind of starts in this sense. But yeah, I mean, this is how it began, and then it builds. So yeah, I hung out with this kid on and off, on like a consistent basis when I was up until I was 14, and then like on and off until eventually he would get arrested. We'll get into that more later on, but at this point we started bringing in other people into the friend group, including people that actually never had done anything bad in their lives. So this was kind of like a first for them, like trespassing and, you know, cussing people out, you know, throwing stuff at people, stuff like that. You know, it was pretty intense. But that's how, you know, again, that's how everybody starts. And of course, that's when I started like skateboarding and kind of getting into that whole like extreme sports and doing stupid things. Actually, it's like the first time I was 13, I actually jumped off of a parking garage. Something I would do many times. We kind of started doing like stunts and all these crazy, stupid things. Yeah, I mean, and eventually this would actually culminate something I want to get into in a moment. So now here I am, 13 years old, 2008. I'm moving on. About to start high school soon, which would be at Bassick High School in Bridgeport. Pretty notorious public school. Obviously not probably the second worst in the area, like the whole metropolitan area of Bridgeport, but it was a pretty bad school. It wasn't the worst, so can't complain on that scale, but things would happen there, and probably was a reason why I would get into a lot of trouble later on, but more on that later. Let's stick now, 13, 14, 2008, 2009. So it was, now we're getting into the summer. This was in 2009. So at this point, I'm not yet, it's the end of August, is my birthday, so I'm not yet 14. I was actually skating at this local skate place in Bridgeport. You know, it's no longer, it's kind of defunct at this point. It no longer exists, but those who are from the area or had a run in there, it was called Rampage. So I was skating there pretty late. Say it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. This was back in June of 2009. I can't remember the exact date. I mean, it's been such a long time. It's probably about June 14th, around there. I think this is pretty much what kind of, it's one of the worst things I think I've ever been into. So, coming home, and actually I ran into these two guys on bikes. They were pretty older, I would say, maybe not too old, probably about 20, maybe early 20s. So yeah, they had face masks on. They were on bikes. They actually bumped into me first. And at the time period, anyone who knows the area of like Fairfield Avenue and like Orland Street, I mean, it depends. You have to be from this area, but if you do know this area, it was pretty abandoned at the time. Things were not as developed. Things were still kind of developing. So at the time, of course, it's still being developed, and yes, these two guys, bikes come, they bump into me, they apologize, I keep on moving, I don't even speak nothing. This is before I'm kind of have any street smarts, I'm not aware of anything. And then I'm walking another 2 blocks straight, boom, out of nowhere, I get hit from the back of the head. Don't even know to this day, it is just instant knockdown. I mean, I'm 13 years old, almost 14. These guys are 10, 12 years older than me. They knocked me down, and I'm, kind of dizzy. I'm looking around, getting up, instantly hit me again over the back of the head. I know they had pistols, could have been a gun, could have been their hands. I can't even remember at this point. I just remember being hit hard over the back of the head, falling forward, get kicked a couple times, hit a couple times. They're ripping through my pockets. They take out, I have like an old iPod at the time, like probably like with the first, second generation iPod, some headphones. Like pretty much all I had on me. I mean, I'm 13 years old, no cash, nothing of significant value, besides a skateboard, of course, but I do remember the gun, just a silver, kind of resembled a Colt 1911. Can't remember exactly. I mean, probably wasn't, and if it was, it could have been a BB gun, could have been real. But 13 years old, you're in the dark. You got 2 older guys just knocked you over the back of the head. You're kind of in and out of it. Don't know what's going on. Really can't be sure exactly what it was, but yeah, they picked me up. They said hit me a couple times in the face, and they threatened me. They said, look, you're coming with us, we need to get money out of you. So there was a housing project, so where this incident happened, so it happened here, for example, and this is on the main street, but it happened like right on the side of like, so there's the main street and then there's intersecting street. So it happened like a few feet into the intersecting street. I mean, this again, a lot of abandoned buildings at the time, not really well developed, dark, no one around. So they picked me up, one in each arm. They're walking their bikes. So they said, you're coming with us. I have no idea what's even going on. I'm still in and out of it. And they walk me. So we're going back in the main street. And you take a right, go straight, housing projects right up the street. So they take me in there. So even to this day, I still remember these faces. And later on, a few years later, I actually even thought I saw one of them, but I couldn't be sure. And being in that time period, I was pretty stupid still, so I was kind of crossing my mind to do something. Then I started carrying weapons and stuff, and of course, just coming up to some random person and doing something is not something you want to do. But aside from that, yes, we go in there. We go to some random house. They sit me outside, so wait here. I mean, they're all armed and everything. And it's like a trap house. Whole bunch of people around. I mean, probably about 20 people. All of them. I mean, this is either some type of organized gang in the project with P.T. Barnum, or this is just a bunch of kids looking to make a quick come up. So I quickly came up with a plan in my mind. I was like, hey, I live down the street. I can get you guys $500. So I'm 13 years old. Don't know what the fuck's going on. This is definitely a horrifying experience. And I'm like, you know what? I got $500. They quickly fell for it. One of them decides to come with me. And we walked down to this random ass place, about a few blocks up. So it's closer to like the nicer area of the town. And we go to this house, random house I just picked out. So yeah, I live right there. He was like, I'm gonna wait here, but I'm holding your iPad. Oh, next video.